I'm feeling like I'm in the hot seat.
Because with me, I have a couple of questions from our Metis fellows, alumni, friends, and communities.
All right, let's hear them.
First question starts on a very interesting note. What's your scariest moment at Metis?
My scariest.
Scariest.
Okay, I have a funny, scary one.
Go for it.
Retreat 2019. We're staying in this beautiful home in the middle of coffee fields in Thika. I have about 15 fellows. They're sharing rooms, and there are no more beds left. So I'm sleeping on a mattress under the table in the dining room, and go to bed the first night feeling really proud. Got all these people on a bus. Like, we have really high profile professionals, Cliff Oluoch. We have Nuru and Rukia who are leading schools. We have just, like, it's a rock star class of people. I'm feeling very proud. Like, wow, I got all of these, like, adult leaders to come out of town and come on this retreat. So I go to sleep, and in the middle of the night, like 4 a.m. in the dark, I hear a noise. And I wake up, and I'm like, I can hear footsteps, and there's someone entering, and I'm like, this is it. Like, this is, I got all these people to come out here to trust me, to trust us, and we're getting broken into. This is how we all die. And this is it. This is it. And it just turned out that there were two women who were in the midst of Ramadan and who were going to eat their breakfast very early at 4 a.m. and we're just cutting through the dining room to the kitchen. But I swear, for about a solid minute, I was like, we all get kidnapped. Anyways, worst case scenario, my heart was definitely pounding.
That's scary with a funny ending at least.
Thank goodness.
Amazing. Second question.
Okay.
Who's been your role model?
Oh, so many people to learn from. The first person who comes to mind is Shaheen Mistry, who is the CEO of Teach for India and founded that organization. I had the opportunity to learn from her in 2018 when I spent time in India, and she leads a very large, impact-driven organization with such heart and with a love ethic. And I think that there is a depth of care that permeates the organization and the work that I had never encountered before. And so I really admire that in Shaheen's leadership. So she's my role model.
Amazing. Shout out to her. She sounds amazing. Third question. This is very interesting, and even I am curious about it. How has Metis evolved or changed during your tenure?
Oh, so much. I think that we have really used the Metis way to be able to get feedback from people, to iterate. We didn't used to have retreats. Our team was so much smaller. Like, now we have a proper office. We didn't in the beginning. We worked in various co-working spaces and coffee shops. We have systems that support great collaboration, and our team members. It's not just, a ragtag group of volunteers, but we still have the same heart and the same vision, I think. And I would say on a strategic level, moving from building a pipeline of proximate leaders was our goal during the first 5 years, and now our goal is to really support a growing alum movement, to collaborate and even serve as innovation partners to government to advance CBC, because we're at this really critical moment. So instead of just thinking about scaling wide, we want to scale deep in terms of the depth of our impact, and we also want to scale up to be able to influence systems at the government level.
Share with us a memorable moment or experience at Metis that completely changed your life and that of Metis as well.
The pandemic was life-changing for many of us for many different reasons. In the life of Metis, we completely had to pivot. We had all in-person programming, and suddenly we weren't allowed to gather. So what are we going to do? And we had this huge opportunity as well, because at the forefront of our educators' minds, but also it was the forefront of the public's mind of what is happening to education during this time. And so I think it really changed the life of our community to be able to say, wait a minute, systems weren't working for kids before the pandemic. Now is our golden moment and opportunity to be able to do that. So supporting our leaders to be able to leverage digital technology to more effectively engage caregivers to support them to lead learning at home, to have conversations about the necessity of mental health in learning experiences and in the life of a school was really beautiful to watch. And I think that our fellows' innovations have become more holistic and stronger as a result. For us as Metis, then it really helped us to be able to create a hybrid learning experience so that we could offer the fellowship not only to people who lived in Nairobi, but people who are all over Kenya and now all over East Africa. So that the pandemic was a defining moment for us then, as an organization. And I think there's a moment for me personally that really did change my life, because not only were things challenging because of the virus and the grief around so much loss that was happening because of COVID, there was just immense grief and injustice that was being perpetrated by the very people who were meant to protect us. And so there was a lot of police brutality and extrajudicial killings. And so I participated in a couple of marches in solidarity with mothers who had lost their kids to police violence. And one of them was in Huruma and Eastlands. And I remember going and marching with children as well as with adults. And so I marched alongside a 9-year-old, and he knew all the songs, he knew the chants, and it just really struck me that this kid wasn't allowed in that moment just to be a kid. He was sitting there begging the people and protesting the people who are meant to protect him, and essentially protesting, their killing of kids his age. He should be playing. He should be like free running around learning at school. And that struck me. And he had picked up a sign from someone who was marching in front of us. And I looked at it and said, "Justice can't wait." And watching him carry that sign, I think it brought home the urgency of our work at Metis. Justice can't wait. And it's up to us also as educators to ensure how are we advancing justice and safety and learning and joy for our kids, because it can't wait. And it's a matter of life and death. And that moment really changed me.
Tell us, what do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun? That morphs a lot, but I like being outside. I like challenging my body and spirit through outdoor activities. So most recently I've been running a lot. I'm training for a 100-kilometer trail run in the mountains. That's fun for me. I love gathering people. I host a monthly open mic potluck at home, which brings together diverse people to share their art and stories and music, which is really fun. I enjoy travel and chance encounters and talking to strangers. Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, photography. I also like photography, which is how we met. Yes. No, I do. I do. I'm looking forward to taking more pictures too. Yeah.
Yeah, you should.
Thank you.
So tell us.
Yeah.
You've been a leader at Metis for 6 years. Mm-hmm. Share with us your most embarrassing moments.
My most embarrassing moment?
Yes.
Oh, man. Okay, it wasn't at Metis, actually. It was there have been mortifying memories at Metis. I can't. But the memory that's on the top of my head was when I first moved to Kenya about 8 years ago, and I was actually a program director at Dignitas, and I was facilitating a big training with teachers, and I had prepped so much. I was like, this is going to be really engaging. And I remember getting like up in front of this room and all of these eager eyes looking at me, and I would ask a question though, and the room would be silent. And I just was like, later I was told, people can't understand you. You're talking too fast. Where are you from? And I could feel that. I could feel the whole energy of the room just being like, what is this chick talking about? And I wanted to just disappear into the ground, because facilitating for 2 hours when people can't, it was a disaster. It was pretty embarrassing. I hope you can understand my answers to these questions now. Maybe there should be captions.
For viewers who are still there. Amazing. So how has it been being the founder and ED at the same time?
Oh, that's interesting. When I co-founded Metis, I actually was their chief programs officer. So I am a former teacher and principal and facilitator, and I love thinking about learning design, and I love coaching, and for creating memorable experiences for people. So I didn't sign up to be executive director. It was, the twists and turns of startup life that found us in a position where if Metis was going to continue, it would be under my leadership as executive director. And so we had this whole kind of moment in my apartment where cohort 1 fellows were doing a SWOT analysis together with me, and we were deciding what did we want the future of Metis to look like, how would we all contribute, and my contribution got to be being executive director. So I didn't sign up for it. I was terrified. I was insecure. I was uncertain. I was excited. I was motivated. I was curious. And I was really, held in community. So I think it's been a wild adventure in that regard. But it was a big surprise to me, to be honest.
Yeah, and I believe also since co-founding Metis and being the ED, you've been in Nairobi a lot, up and down. Tell us about some of your Nairobi escapades. Memorable ones, of course.
Okay, escapades. All right. I love Nairobi because it feels like a big city with a village vibe. I can be running, and Pius, who was my boda boda driver from 8 years ago, taking me, I was supporting school leaders in informal settlements in Kangemi and Kawangware and Mathare and Satellite, and he would take me everywhere. We'd have chapati on the side of the road, then we'd go to one school, then we'd go to the next and the next. He was my main man. And now, 8 years later, I love that I can be running and then I can hear a voice, Rebecca! And I look, and it's Pius! And that just makes me so happy to just have all these run-ins and chance encounters. I think I've just been thinking a lot about entanglement, and I know that but joy is entanglement, this enmeshment of people, and I think I love the spontaneity of Nairobi. I love the mix of people who are from here, and I love with people who have chosen to make this their home, and I feel just really lucky to be an immigrant here. So I would just say the ins and outs of the Nairobi hustle and bustle life, that's just my favorite. Yeah,
the city of the sun.
Yeah.
Amazing. Now let's address a hot topic.
Okay.
Fellows alumni. Are you ready?
Yeah, give it to me.
You're in this transition period.
I am.
Everybody's curious, at what point did you decide it's time to transition?
Ooh, this actually felt less like a decision and more of a keeping of a promise. When I became executive director, it was a bit reluctant. Actually, it was totally reluctantly. And I felt like there was a lot of, Metis is what the Greeks called deep contextualized wisdom. I don't have that. I definitely didn't have it then. And I think there's been a part of me that's always, to be honest, felt a little guilty about being ED, that felt like, who am I to do this? And so our vision from the beginning is that this would be Kenyan owned and led. And there's been a lot of Kenyan leadership on our leadership team and on our board, etc. And so I think that this has always been like the hope and the dream and the plan from day one. So that's what it feels like to me. In terms of like the nitty gritties of when did we start succession planning, probably early 2021, together with the board, thinking through, okay, if this is our mission and vision, if we want this to be locally led, if we value proximate leadership, let's start planning for that. Let's start building internal capacity. Let's get the partnerships and the resources to be able to do that. And so it's been, a long time coming. And I think we also announced it publicly to our community to help us find this executive director. And I think transitions are beautiful and hard. And I think even if everything is can be going right, it's still, and we've been planning for this for so long. But yeah. Here we are.
And all the best. So tell us more about the transition. How have you prepared the team? What are the challenges? What are the realizations you've come to? Tell us more about it. We're curious.
Yeah. So how did I prepare the team? I was nervous. I was really nervous because the team was bought into this and knew since 2022 that there was going to be a transition from me being executive director to the board. So we'd been planning this with the board in 2021. The team knew in 2022. Started interviewing candidates. It was a whole long process, but it's always been participatory. We told fellows, we shared the JD with fellows. And actually our plan was to first hire a deputy. And then when that process dragged out for a while, we had someone that we really liked who then it fell through at the last minute. We said, okay, actually the caliber of candidate that we want is actually not seeing themselves just as a deputy. They're seeing themselves as the executive director. So then we made that shift, announced it again to our community, got their support. And the team, you were even part of interviewing, right? So it's one thing to go through all of that, and it's another then to have the board vote on someone, and then it's going to be finalized. So after that point, and when I was to announce that back to you all, that's when I got nervous. I was like, oh man, this is really happening. How are they going to feel? How am I going to feel? So I've actually enjoyed this season of leadership because it's new. And I feel like I'm testing new edges of my leadership of how do I show up with authenticity and confidence in the process and in our team and in myself and in our new executive director. How do I convey that sense of stability and confidence and also bring that authenticity that I know you expect of me? And that's been a really interesting, sometimes tension to hold. And I think that it's been beautiful to watch our team hold nuance, the nuance of welcoming in someone new while also feeling all of our feels about change. I think we've gotten used to each other and used to a certain sort of way of being over the last 6 years, and there are going to be shifts. There will be. And that will be hard, potentially. It will be good. But good change still is change, and as humans, we struggle with that. So being able to create a container for not only our team, but our fellows and community to be able to celebrate, have clarity about our direction going forward, while also having whatever other feelings. Some people have felt sad. Some people need to release some grief. Some people are nervous and anxious and people are uncertain. Like, I think that's all normal. And I think in transition, we don't talk about it enough, but I think that is all part of the journey, even if it's right. So I think that it's been this beautiful time because it's grown all of our capacity to hold nuance, to step into non-duality, to be, to be brave.
Can do hard things.
We can do hard things, yeah.
Amazing. Wow, that's a lot. So also tell us, as you transition, what would you like to see Metis blossom into?
That's such a hard question for me to answer because the reason why I am stepping aside from this particular role is that I don't know, and I don't think it's mine to decide. I really want to, what I want to see is our community continue to flourish in the direction that it wants to flourish. I want to see you all as the team continue to grow, to step into your power, to step into your leadership, to step in your conviction about where our country needs to go. And so, to be quite frank, I don't know what the direction should be. And if I have opinions, I'm kind of like, they're just that. They're just opinions. And so I just hope to kind of, in changing my role, I know that other people will get to blossom and grow in ways that are really powerful, and I think that's what I'm most excited about. Yeah.
It's beautiful to hear. And as most of us are curious, I am curious as well. What next for Rebecca McCook?
Everyone asks that. I'm also like, I don't know. I think rest and reflection will be next for me. Again, as I've said before, I feel very grateful to be an immigrant here in Kenya. I hope this is a home for me, so I'll be here, but I will probably, be holed up and leaning into my, being a bit more introverted, reflecting, and then let's see, then I'll be open to collaborating and facilitating and coaching as I discern, next steps. But that's what I think. I also think I have a hunch, KK, and I'm saying this to you as a creative. I think building an organization, I actually think we're all creatives, first of all. I think I hope that we all own that identity as a creative, whether you're building an organization or a policy or technology or, founding an organization. That's a creative act. That said, I do want to see that creativity have other outlets. I really do enjoy visual storytelling. I have, you guys giving me this mic has been an immense privilege, and I would love to see what having conversations like this in the future could look like. Maybe, so we'll see. I don't know. Again, we have to discern. Maybe we'll birth a podcast. Maybe we'll build birth a coaching practice. I'm not really sure, but I think so. I think I'll dabble more in creative visual storytelling.
Amazing. We wish you all the best. Those are the questions we had for today.
Amazing.
And as always, you're still part of the community. You're part of the board. We'll still hopefully be in touch with you and keep up with you. And all the best as you transition.
Thanks so much, KK.